Better do it now because I might forget. Hello, 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 hello. I just want to let you know it is being recorded. I'm keep admitting there's a lot of people coming in. I just want you guys to know this is being recorded. So if you drop off, please know that you guys will have the ability to see it tomorrow when I put it out there. I will be in the comments in the chat box. I'm gonna go ahead and drop a cheat sheet because you know how I love those cheat sheets for you guys for marketing. The three styles of marketing. And let me tell you, Bill's going to give you marketing stuff too. For those of you who do not know Bill, I'm going to introduce him in a second. But before I do, we have a lot of new people here. I would love to see all of your faces and say hi to all of you. For those that are new that are joining us, I am Heather Brooks. I am actually one of your co-founders here at EXP Seniors Network. And every Thursday night, this is where we all meet. And by the way, it's called Tipple Time. I am in Florida. So Tipple Time from Florida at 7 p.m. So those on the East Coast, enjoy. Those are that are everywhere else, relax, enjoy. We're going to have fun. This is all about learning, educating. I'm going to go through a few little housekeeping things and then we can get to the end of it. Again, we have a lot more people that just came in. We are only EXP Seniors Network. So if you guys are in here and you're not EXP, too bad because everything we do is EXP here. So welcome. I am a big into marketing. So if you just came in the chat box in a little second, I'm going to post a plug and play social media cheat sheet for you. Bill's going to have one for you as well. Bill is also, by the way, one of our moderators here. He does moderate everything. He hosts weekly classes. I urge you to get to know him. He is a broker associate in Los Angeles. He's phenomenal at what he does. If you have questions, if you need stuff, he's the person to go to. When I started here at XP 6 years ago or so, Bill was one of the first guys that I met. He really taught me probate. It's not I have done probate, I've done sales, but it's something everybody needs to know because when you're working with the older demographics, this is a key to it. And if you know anything about me, I love free. Love free. Bill's going to show us some free stuff, which I love. So my plug and plays will be going down in the chat box, just so you guys know. And I'm going to, send it over to Bill. Just coming up every Thursday night, this is where we are. We always do marketing classes, connection classes, and all of that. I do cheat sheets. We do record it. All of that information is in EXP Seniors Network, where to find things. Links the same, 7 p.m. Very happy you guys are here. When he's done, Q&A all day long. I'd appreciate it if you guys talk to us. We all want to look at each other. We want to feel real. I don't want to sit behind a screen and talk to somebody when they're asking a question. So please open up your mics at the end. I encourage you to be a part of it because we're part of the change. Right, Phil?
Well, we're supposed to be part of the change. We got to make it happen.
Yes, we are. We are the largest real estate network with this demographics. I've been doing it for 15, 20 years.
Right.
However, 6 years, almost 7 years here at EXP, and I will tell you, it's my love, it's my heart. So Bill and I are in it together. We've done it for many years. But I introduced to you Bill Gross.
Well, thank you. Great introduction. You left off good looking and charming, though. Other than that, it was a great introduction. And I love two things. I love free as well, and I love Heather Brooks. So this was the easy one. She asked me to come in here today. I said, yeah, I am definitely all about jumping in. I'd love to know, you guys, I understand you're all from EXP. Love to know what state or city and state you were from, because I'll tailor a little bit my reaction of what I'm going to offer you guys as far as help in the process. If you put in the chat box in the Zoom, and also this is an excuse to get you into action, because the way we do anything is the way we do everything. It's a Tony Robbins lesson I learned. And if you really want to get something out of any organization, you really get out of it what you put into it. And so by participating, you'll make the event today better. So if you're able to put in the chat box what state you're from, what county you're from, or what state, city you're from, and state would be great. And
I'm
that'll help
gonna
me.
just Los Angeles, Hayward, California, Dallas,
LA.
Arizona, lots of stuff. Indiana, Texas, Austin, Texas, Lacey, Washington, guys.
There you go.
So Arizona, Denver, we're from all over,
Okay,
Florida.
cool.
So nationwide, and I love it. Oh, and we do have, I think, somebody here from Canada as well. So
Oh, Canada. So, so here's the thing. Not to argue or disagree, but a little different take is Heather talks about marketing. I would say that rather than looking at it as marketing, I look at this as paying in advance or auditioning for the job or educating and helping people. And as a result of that, we get business. The thing that I learned in real estate a long time ago is you can have anything you want in life if you help enough other people get what they want. And what we get paid is a reflection of the value we create for our customers. And so if you want to make more money, the way to do that is help more people or create more value for your customers. So tonight we're going to talk about, I'm going to share it's probate. I think that's what gets people's attention. But really, it's not about probate as much as there's a focus, hopefully a hyper focus, on opportunities to serve other people with specific needs. If you know they're in a certain area demographically, it's easier to focus what you want on as far as needs. So I want to talk about who likes free besides Heather? Free? Okay, I like free. So all my marketing, I don't buy any Zillow ads, I don't buy any Google ads, I don't buy any of that stuff. I do pay for virtual assistants to help me with administratively and with my marketing education. I really focus on educating my consumers. I'm going to share with you the steps, what I call the foundation, and then specifically in probate, what you can do to add more value to your customers. Making yourself more valuable will get you paid. Just remember that's the formula. If you want to make more money, you help more people by doing that. So how do you help more people? One is whatever you're doing of value, share it with more people. Obviously, for example, in this call tonight, we have on her, whatever the number is, 38 people. If we had 238 people, would this be a more valuable phone call for all of us? Yes or no? Yes or no? That's a yes, right? The more people you talk to,
regardless, it's a valuable call because we all are adding
uh,
value to our client.
of course, and it's
We
a
get
phenomenal
more.
number. I don't mean to put down where I'm just saying more is always better.
Yeah.
Helping more people is always better. A bigger audience is better, right? For a
I
sporting
put a
event,
cheat sheet, by the way, everybody, cheat sheet in the comment section, just so you know. And he's going to drop his cheat sheet later.
I think mine's in there already, actually. I
Maybe
put it in the
drop,
chat. I chatted to you.
yeah, put it directly in the chat so everybody has it, and then they can play along as the cheat sheet goes. I'll
I
make
don't know
it easier.
why it's not going in the chat.
So chat box, I did a cheat sheet. I'll go ahead and put it in again for you guys coming from me. That cheat sheet's going to give you plug and play. So as he's talking through it, look at that sheet. Honestly, I made it really easy. For those that want to go on camera, don't worry about it. For those that want to go on camera, I got you. For those that just want to do stagnant photos, I got you too. So I got all three. I tell you all about it. He's going to put his in, so double the amount.
So the first thing I would say is because you want to share it with as many people as possible, the first step is your database. The first step is to get everybody that you know, like, and trust, and knows, likes, and trusts you into one spot. Now, at XP, they gave us KV Core when I started. You now have a choice of 3 CRMs as a new change in our company. You can buy your own CRM. You can use a Google Sheet. You can use MailChimp. You can use whatever you want. Everybody has to be in one place that you start off with. And that will help you reach out to people and share with them good information or things of value, like this cheat sheet, for example. Now, in probate, what is probate? Well, in some regards, probate is the process by which somebody passes property when they're deceased to somebody else, something else. And there's a lot of aspects to that. I happen to focus on the legal aspect. I don't really focus on senior housing decisions or nursing homes or There's whole worlds of senior that I don't focus on. I really hyper focus on one. Why? Because that's what I enjoy and where I can create value for people. But you're you, all right? I do what I do, you do what you do. But it all starts with first accumulating everybody you know because we think, well, I don't really know anybody who works with senior housing or nursing homes or memory care facilities. But see, you really do because what happens is your client, you know, the husband, you don't know the wife, she works as an administrator at one of those companies, or her uncle works with one of those companies, or whatever. And so, what you need to understand is that when you share good information, you want to share it as broadly as you can. And that's why on my 3 steps, I start with step one is get everything together into one spot. Now, I'm going to give you guys a couple different ways you can utilize that, but it starts with a foundation. So, step two of my cheat sheet is research ownership of your clients. Now, we're all real estate agents, so we all belong to the MLS. My MLS has Realist on it, which is a public record service through First American. It's free as part of my MLS membership. Additionally, title reps will give you their software package. I have one 24/7. My title rep gave me access to that. We also have RPR as realtors. You remember the association board? That's another tool. It doesn't matter which tool you use. Some are better in certain areas, better counties, better states. Doesn't matter. You find your public record tool. Go through your list of your best clients, people you sold houses to, people that you listed and sold their houses for. Doesn't matter. Friends, family. You look up the house and see how they hold title of the house. And what you're going to find is, for example, some are going to say, if you look at step number two is research the ownership. Step three is how you talk to them. Now, some of them hold property in a trust. Some don't. Doesn't really matter. Some do, some don't. You would talk to all of them. So here's how it goes. I would start with those that do. And I would say, let's say Jim and Bob, I'd call up Jim and say, Jim, I noticed when I sold you the house 8 years ago, 5 years ago, last month, I noticed that when I talked about selling your house, you didn't list with me, but I noticed you held the property in a trust. Now, I'm a realtor and I talk to people all the time who need to get an estate plan. So when they buy a property, it's in a trust or transfer it. I'm curious who did it and were you happy with their service? Now, why would you ask them that information? Anybody want to guess? Anybody want to guess?
So you're able to get a contact for a referral.
Well, maybe yes.
A professional referral, as in making the network. That's how you
Yeah.
your board.
Yeah. So,
I
for
call it
example,
secret sauce, you guys. If you haven't been watching, it's your secret sauce to your deli sandwich.
well, it might be a secret sauce. So, for example, if they have a trust and they love, 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 love their attorney, might you consider referring other people to that attorney? Now, you can't refer them without knowing them, so you have to call the attorney and say, "Hey, Heather, I'm Bill Gross. I was just talking to uh, both got two Heathers there. The other Heather, and she said that you did her estate plan. She loves you. I'm a realtor. I talk to people all the time looking to buy houses or sell houses that need an estate plan. And here's the key phrase for estate planners. I'll give you a little. It's not my cheat sheet. Are you still writing estate plans? Why do I say that? Because when they're new, they all write plans. When they get more advanced, they administer them and they have a junior person or they no longer write new plans or whatever the story is. It shows you kind of know their lingo. And they'll say, oh, yeah, we do all the time, or, I'll do that many, or whatever the answer is, doesn't matter because you're looking for those to say, yeah, I do. And I'd be glad to have you have your customers talk to me. What's the best way to introduce people to you? Some of them have a phone number on their website. Some have a webinar. Some have them pop by the office. Some do a monthly event at the local hotel. All those are good. So now you have a resource to give other customers to. Do not ask that attorney. And by the way, can you sell me all your referrals to sell your houses? Why do we not do that? Why do we not do that? And
Because
what
it's cheesy.
it's cheesy.
So cheesy.
So when somebody gives you business, that's like an intimate relationship. And asking somebody to send you their listing to sell is like going into a bar and walking up to a girl, in my case, saying, "Do you want to go home and be intimate?" It's not appropriate at that time.
Bill, I teach like, know, and trust. If you
Yes.
don't like, know, and trust
Yes.
that person that's
Yes.
like your connection,
Yes. Repels. Hates you. So don't ask them for any business ever. The person told you they're a great attorney. Great. I'd love to know that. How's the best way to refer people to you? It's your website. Great. It's your phone call. You do a free consult. Great. That's all you need to know. Now you call all the people that you know, if you have a good one, that don't have a trust. Hey, Heather, I noticed when I sold you the house 5 years ago, you took title of the house in the name of Heather Brooks, not Heather's Trust, not the state of Heather. It just says Heather Brooks. I'm curious. And again, the phraseology I think is important. It shows expertise. Are you aware of the advantages of an estate plan? Now, are we all aware of the advantages? Yeah, we all know there's advantages. We're just too lazy to get it done. Or we don't have a great resource to do it. Do you know have a great resource you could refer them to? Yeah, the attorney you just hung up with. Make sense? Now you have another option, which is there's the cheap version, like freewill.com will do a free basic trust. Now it's not worth a lot, but it's free, but you can give your customer two choices. Here's a free one. And by the way, I know a great attorney. His name is Bob, and he did Heather's, and Heather loved him. And he has a free consult. Go, here's his website, here's the phone number, call him up. Now, if you just did that with everybody you know, at some point you'd be so busy with referrals, you would never do any more business. You would never do more prospecting on this. I assure you. I got to about the D's doing this. Because I had somebody call, I'll never forget, I had somebody I called up, he was an attorney, not an estate planning attorney. He was a kind of a general civil litigator. And he said to me, I have this client, she's got a problem with a neighbor and a lot line, and I don't really know what it is. Can you help her? Can I help her? Yeah. Is that really my job? Well, I was a Mike Ferry trained prospecting animal. I was taught not to go ever see a customer unless it was a pre-qualified listing appointment. But here's a woman who was widowed, who had a problem. Of course, I'm in a job of helping people. Yeah, I'll be glad to talk to her. I talked to her on the phone, and in mid-conversation, she says to me, it's hard to explain. Can you just come over and take a look at it? Again, I was trained not to ever go to a client without a pre-qualified listing appointment, but I went. This nice woman, she was widowed after 50 years of marriage. Her husband took care of all the finances. They had a six-unit apartment building. We walked around it. She was describing a problem with a lot line. And she just turned to me and said, can you just sell this for me? And my listing presentation was this. Sure. Why not? And I sold it. It was like an $800,000 six-unit building in LA. And I'll tell you guys, the funny part about this is, again, I was trained never to go see the customer without a pre-qualified listing appointment. Her proceeds check was over $500,000. I went to the escrow in Beverly Hills. I drove to her in Boyle Heights, which is about an hour and a half in LA, at rush hour, to give her the check. And nice older woman, and she started crying. And she said, I've always wanted to move to Arizona to be with my sister. Can you just sell this house, meaning her residence? So now I've experienced my listing presentation. I had it down pat. I said to her, what? Who knows my presentation? What did I say?
Sure.
Sure.
Because what people here, agents, if you are not listening to me, okay? I keep telling you, this is the wealthiest demographics. They own all of the home ownership. It's all about becoming the person that you like, know, and trust.
Yeah.
So here's what I say, Bill, in all of it. And I know you've heard it before. You don't need to be everyone. You just need to become the person that they like, know, and trust when it comes time to make a very hard decision. And when that time comes, your connections and the people that you have, that sphere of influence, your secret sauce. If you haven't watched my other videos, go look at what my secret sauce is. We're the deli stand. We're the deli shop. They come into us with all of the deli needs. They need help. We're the secret sauce. Bill's giving you a part of his secret sauce. I give you how to market your secret sauce up the wazoo and all the people who can give you that. Whether it's heck of for purchase, doesn't matter. But that's where your connections are going to beat that perfect real estate agent that's in your neighborhood that's selling those homes who doesn't have those connections with older adults. Who, by the way, they don't just have a building, they invested in properties because that's where their money's invested. It's not invested in the stock market.
Mhm.
It's not where they invested it. And then don't you think that when you sell this home, they got to go somewhere. So then Bill was like, oh yeah, no problem. Why? Because we have agents wherever she wanted to move. And he knew that those agents in Arizona were going to be able to help her with that. Use it, work it, connect it. If you're not marketing to this demographics, you're losing out.
Funny story on that. Now that you just brought it to my attention, I referred her to an EXP agent, and I didn't ask for a referral fee because I really don't like to. If I'm selling the house, I don't like to do that. That's just me. I never heard from that agent, EXP agent, ever again. How can that be in 6 years? Never heard from him again.
Yeah, yeah.
Stupid.
I've done referrals and with real EXP real estate agents, I've gotten packages from them, like little love notes and stuff.
Uh,
I tell you, it goes a long way to be receptive, responsive, and thankful. Because I tell you, people want that. Life is not like that anymore. We're not getting that out there. Even as real estate agents with each other, that's kind of sucks, especially when you're making money on it. The point is, it's not about the money, it's about the connections. That's what Bill was trying to tell you guys. It's the connections. That's what I try telling you guys. It is about that connection that's going to beat it out every time. Doesn't matter if it's probate, trusts, wills. Doesn't matter if it's home health care. Doesn't matter if it's an OT, doesn't matter. This is the way it's going to be right now. This is how you have to connect.
it's funny you say it. As I'm listening to you, I'm thinking of my business. I have one of my best attorneys who he's not a probate attorney. He's actually like a civil attorney, but a great attorney has his best clients. They die or they deal with somebody's estate. That's just part of life. And so one day he called me up and said, "Hey, I have a client who passed away and I need somebody who's a fiduciary." Now, that's a technical term, and I can go on and talk about that for hours. But the bottom line is, he acts in the place of the person who died to manage the estate. Oftentimes, attorneys do it, but sometimes they're not attorneys. I need a fiduciary who's familiar with commercial property. Well, it turns out my best friends, who I'd encouraged to become a professional fiduciary 2 years ago, and I referred a couple of deals to, had been a commercial property manager and a commercial property appraiser, was perfect for the job. He now manages a $40 million estate. Who do you think is their real estate resource? I already closed over $100,000, well, year to date with that estate. We've got more to come. We've got another listing coming next week. My whole marketing pitch was, yeah, I know a guy who can help you with that. That was it.
Okay, so secret sauce, you guys. This is what I've been teaching you for years. We are the sandwich shop. Doesn't matter what your bread is. Somebody needs help, you help them. Doesn't matter what their meat is. They have a problem, fix it.
Yeah.
Because I promise you, you're going to be the person that's going to sell whatever real estate they have in their portfolio. That's it.
Do people call him all the time? Of course, he's not going anywhere because I got him the business. I'm not saying he owes me. He knows I'm valuable to him because I got him business. So he's not going to go anywhere. You know, one
You
other thing
don't
I would,
need to have a ton of these people. You don't. You got to have the few that you love and like and trust.
and,
Goes
and
both
here's,
ways.
and here's another funny part of this. Now, I look back at my business now. So I don't know if you guys know, I have a YouTube channel. It's at Bill Gross Probate. So you go to youtube.com/ at Bill Gross Probate. And I do interviews. I interview attorneys, I interview estate planning attorneys, reverse mortgage originators. Why did I do that? Because the truth is I had enough business coming in, but the attorneys I wanted to work with, how do you get their attention? Well, one is if you call them up and I say, "Hey, would you like me to interview you on my YouTube channel?" They would say yes. "Would you like to be on my podcast?" Now, today, my podcast, 6 years later, is the largest probate real estate podcast in America. So I have people call me saying I'm going to be on it. If I leave a message for an attorney, the secretary calls me back. "Yes, Bob wants on. When can we get him scheduled?" But my point is, I started just calling attorneys I wanted to work with. And I figured, if they're not nice on the phone, I don't want to work with them. And if they don't get that I know what I do know. Now, I don't know everything about senior real estate, but what I know really well. And I learned that sauce. I learned that cut of meat so I can deliver that over and over and over again. I would urge you guys to do the same. Whatever it is, whatever deli meats you're selling in your sandwich shop, be the master of those deli meats. I became the master of the attorney services, fiduciary services, the probate legal process. That's been my juice. As a result, I get referrals from professionals in that field, and I put on all my social media is to get their attention to say, "Hey, I can help you. I solve your problems, and that's what I'm here for." Let
It
me
goes back
add,
to education and then a teacher course all you can. But education, you guys, you hear what he's saying? The education component. That's the social media. That's what you need to put out there is the education because nobody knows it exists but us now. Really.
and if I could add to your cheat sheet, I was in a marketing program. It was a great program called Networking Riches, Casey Eberhardt. He does some free stuff and then you can pay like they all do. And I was coached by him for about 3 years. I paid about $500 a month to be in the network. It was great. But on one of the calls, he said he challenged us to do a video a day for 30 days. Now, I'm a shy guy. My two favorite hobbies are reading books and swimming. Okay, you don't talk to anybody doing either one of those things. I don't need to talk to human beings. I'm married. I have two young grandsons. That's enough human being interaction for me for my life. But he challenged me to do it. I did it. And what I found was, and I'm looking at your three. I'm going to add you a fourth option that I think is a little easier, which is find somebody that you like to talk to and do a Zoom call like this and record it. That's a video. That's a podcast. And it's funny because I've done now in 6 years, I mean, a couple thousand interviews. And people say to me, wow, you really good. Like, you really handle the technology really well. Well, yeah, I've done a couple thousand. I've gotten really good. The first couple were terrible. But the first couple people, they're good enough. Like I was better than the people I was interviewing. They thought I was a magician. And they appreciated being on the call. And after a while, I got good enough to where people started to want to be on it. So I would add, as far as the options, that I think the easier one is call somebody up, say, I'd like to do a video interview with you, and just use Zoom. If you already have it, it's already free. Or Google Meet is also free if you have a Google account. And just push record and talk about what it is that the problem that your customer has and how you two work together to solve the problem. So I talk to attorneys about solving families' problems who have probates and how to do it efficiently. What problems do they have? How do we solve the problems? Well, they have a problem with the money. Well, we advance the money. Well, they have problems with the paperwork. I use an online notary service. I use this. I use that. I'm doing that stuff every day. If I was in the senior housing, let's say I was in LA going around different homes for different levels of care, I know the salespeople at those homes love being interviewed about their facilities. They would love for you to walk around with your camera and talk about it, and then walk up to them, interview them, and post that as a video. They would love that.
This was
Now,
last week's
now,
session. If you missed it, this is exactly what I talked about last week.
now you might say, well, it's hard to get a hold of them, but you're not calling them for referrals. You're calling them to interview them to promote their program, their facility, their whatever they call it. And you would say, look, my goal is to have a resource of all the homes in the LA area, the Beverly Hills area, the Culver City area. And I know you guys have one of the best facilities. I'd love to come by and talk to you about it and put it on my website. Who's going to say no to this? Free advertising. You guys as realtors know this, but attorneys will pay $5,000 to a video company to do a couple interviews in their office, post it on their YouTube channel, and they get like 3 views. We're realtors. We post a video, and if we email it out, put it on our Facebook, or put it on LinkedIn, we'll get 20 views. That's still 4 times more than they got. And by the way, 20 views at 3 minutes of view is an hour. So you got your time back, and it's still there on the website.
Oh, and by the way, you forgot to mention it's free advertising for them
Free.
and for you because typically they'll tag you. We talked about this last week in algorithms. If you just listen to what Bill said, please, I urge you to I'm going to drop the YouTube video from last week. I need you guys to listen to what Bill said and last week's video because this type of marketing you need to do because of what's about to come down the pipeline here.
Yes. Yeah.
We have something coming down the pipeline at XP. So please listen when he's telling you this, and I'm telling you this. Please. This
If
is so
you
important to market this way.
if you guys ever saw Seinfeld, there was an episode where George had like a picture of a really pretty girl in his wallet, and he kind of passed it off to other pretty girls that was his fiance or girlfriend, and somehow they were interested in him because of that. It's the same principle. When I interview attorneys, other attorneys go, "Oh wow, he must not be an axe murderer. He seems like a nice guy because this attorney's talking to him, right?" And so the idea is you've really pre-sold yourself. You've auditioned for the job before the job even gets started, right? People see you. I've literally had referrals. Now, I only today, I'm not going to your house to talk to you about listing your house. I'm just not. Either you sign on, you want to use that with me, great. You don't. I understand. There's only like 100,000 realtors in LA. I'm here to help you. Call me if you have a problem. No harm, no foul. But I'm not going to go to your house unless you sign a contract. I'm just not that spot. So there are people who call me and say, "Oh, yeah, so and so referred you, our attorney referred you, blah 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 blah. He says you're great. We'd love to talk to you about it. We're interviewing realtors, and we have an opening on Tuesday at 3 or Wednesday at 4. We have 4 others already lined up." And I will always say to them, "Thank you so much." And I do say it genuinely. Thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate it. That's just not how I operate. I appreciate that's how you want to do things. No judgment, but you should also respect my time. And I just don't do business that way. Why you do this? Interview the other agents if they're not happy, if you're not happy with them, or I can answer any questions, call me anytime. And they always kind of give you that, oh yeah, sure, we're never gonna call you back, kind of hang up. I send them an email, thank you so much for your time. And my YouTube channel is on my email. I've had two call me back within the hour saying, oh my gosh, we saw your YouTube channel. I didn't realize you're an expert in this stuff. Would you list our property? Oh, sure, I'll list your property. Let me send you the contract. Because when you're on YouTube, it's like you're a TV personality. You're like a Joe Rogan. I don't know who your favorite podcaster personality would be or TV personality would be, but for me, I want to be like the Joe Rogan. I go, this guy's a nice guy. This guy is honest. This guy knows what he's talking about. I don't want to have to start before that by walking up the door and impressing you with my suit, tie, car, fancy. People ask me all the time for my pre-listing package. I don't have one. No, I answer questions and people say what the property's worth, and I'll do a
Right,
CMA and
but you
send to
do have one, Bill. You are it.
right.
You guys hear that? Bill is the listing package. He doesn't need to show up with it. He is.
Yes. I
When
want it to be
you
me. I want the whole thing to be me. I don't want anything to distract you. When I go to meetings with people, I never want to
It's
hand
the
out anything.
value. It's literally the value he's bringing in. Now, he found his niche. His niche is the probate, the trust, the wills, all the attorney.
Probate sub niche legal.
Yeah,
Could be probate sub niche senior housing. Could be probate sub niche memory housing. Could be probate sub niche nursing
doesn't matter.
facilities. There's like 50 million others. Probate sub niche wealth management.
But
Probate sub
do
niche
you understand that there's no real estate agent like targeting any of these,
none.
this?
None.
None.
No. They
We
all
are
think
the
that I have to do
largest
everything.
network. We're the largest network for a reason because this is how we have taught for years. I'm telling you, this demographics, you're missing out, guys. You're missing out. We've got big things changing here at EXP, but globally, look at what's happening demographically. It's huge.
I don't. I nowadays my whole marketing is all online now. I made it. I changed my business. At the end of last year, I said I want to do the same. I'm 66. I should have. I had a 5-year plan to retire last year. I made all the numbers. I had the money, but to be honest, I'm having fun. I'm making really good money, so I'm not retiring. I thought there'd be young people putting me out of business. Nobody's putting me out of
You
business
know
yet.
what the
So
best? Do you hear what Bill's saying? His call to action is not sales.
no, no.
That is exactly why he's successful. That's
Now,
exactly why you can be successful in this because your call to action is not sales. If you looked at the cheat sheet I gave you, your call to action, I didn't give it to you as sales. I gave it to you as freebies,
yeah,
what Bill said. And Bill's
yeah,
going to show you the freebie websites. I'm going to let him, but freebies.
yeah. And so I think like I organize my business to where I don't have to go out like to network. I don't go anywhere. I go, I live my life. I was here today in between phone calls. My grandson came by, played with him, played with little locks and keys and stuff. And we keep toys here for him because I want to live that life. That's how I want to work my life. And so I'm not saying I'm right and anyone else is wrong. So I don't go to networking events. But when I went to networking events, every realtor would step and say, well, I specialize in first-time home buyers, investment homes, luxury homes, for apartment buildings, industrial property, and I sell bridges. And I would go, what the hell does this person do? Like, I couldn't even give them business if I wanted to. I don't even know what they do. And I would purposely be very specific. I am the LA County probate expert on sales requiring court confirmation. If you need help with that, please let me know. I'd be more glad to walk you through that. And people go, I don't know what the hell he just said, but it sounds impressive. I want to talk to him. That's what you want to be. You want to be
Just by
the
the way, I've done it before and it's a long, and I've done it for many of them. if if you are an expert in this, you have no idea how many attorneys come to you because they need somebody who only knows this area. The fact that he knows this area, do you know how many just just look at your database in your local area for probates on a daily basis. And then think about all the attorneys that have to deal with that. If you're an expert or you know about that, or you're always interviewing attorneys just because you want to know educate, you want to just teach the education part like Bill and I do, just find the one little piece. It could be assisted living, it could be probate, whatever it is.
Whatever it is that you love, whatever your juice is, that's my juice. Like
Go
I
for
love
it.
it. My father was an attorney. I used to work
Go.
for an attorney. I love putting on suit and tie and going to court. I did that every day for about 4 years before COVID. That's what excited me. You might say, "Oh my gosh, who would want to go to court? Why would I put a suit and tie on?" I enjoyed it. It's not. I don't care that you didn't like it. I liked it. What do you like? Be the master of that. Be the person who's the expert. And it can be a very small niche that covers and intersects with other pieces. And that's where the business would comes from, is all those other pieces. Okay, free resources. Another free resource I want to share with you guys. And this is funny how this became business. There's a website, executorium.com. So Executorium.com, executorium.com. It's a website designed to help executives. Now, again, my focus has been the legal side. This is a little broader based. They get more into personal property like estate sales and collectibles and that kind of stuff, which isn't really my juice. But the proprietor, I love the guy, George Compton out of New Jersey. And when I found the website, I said, George, I love your website. It's free. You could choose to advertise multiple counties. It's free to get a listing in one county. But I interviewed him a couple times on my website, on my podcast, and it was great. And I said, really, I should get all my vendors on your website. So I'd call up my estate sale person and say, hey, here's a free listing for your promote your business. It gives you SEO backlinks. So everybody likes a little extra free good juice. So when I called George, I said, George, we should have more people in this service of yours for free. How about you email them a free opportunity for me to interview them on a video, and I'll create a podcast called the Executorium Podcast, and it's free and I'll promote your website. He's like, well, of course I would do that for free. Why would I not do that? So I create a podcast called the Executorium Podcast. I've interviewed and have in the pipeline about 40 or 50 people. But these are vendors from all over the country, including attorneys, including estate planning attorneys. So I have a good attorney who I did a Probate Weekly. I call him up and say, hey, by the way, are you listed on the Executorium website? No, it's free. Oh, I'll do that. Oh, by the way, I have a podcast on that. Do you want me to do you an episode of that as well? Sure, why not, Bill? It sounds great. So you get the same people, but I just have a second bite of the apple to give them more content. Could you do different living facilities in your county and put them all in there? Of course you could. Could you interview people? You don't need my permission to do this. You could do it on your own and be the unofficial Executorium podcast. My point is this. Look for somebody who has a problem in the area that you like to do business. Figure out how to deliver value to them and just do that in a way that you enjoy. I enjoy doing one-on-one videos. I do not enjoy writing the content's a lot of work. I do once a week, I do a piece, and I enjoy doing it once a week. That's about as much as I can handle. But the people who do like videos every week on the market, to me, that's really hard work. Talking to people like this is, I can do this all day long. This is how I get paid, by the way. I don't know if you guys know this. I get referrals from people like you when I do these events. It's not, I don't do it for that reason. She asked me to do it. Whenever anybody asks me to be a service, I came from a 12-step program. And the answer is, one of the lines in the book is that when we're asked to do service, we say yes. So anybody who asks me, I always say, yeah, if I can make it work, I'll do my best. That's why I do it. And as a result, people call me with leads as a result all the time. Okay, how are we doing, Heather? Time wise or
We're doing,
focus wise?
no, we're doing, we always run over because it's always so good. So I would appreciate it if maybe you can pull up some of the stuff maybe that we were talking about. I know I did it on Plug and Play, but I'd love for you to show everybody maybe the websites. There are some Q&As, but when you're ready to do Q&A after all this, we will go for it. Typically, I end up going about an hour and 15, hour and a half. It just happens that way because it's so good. There's
Okay, I'm
so many
fine.
gold nuggets. So don't worry about time. Enjoy because everybody's here for the content and to be educated on how they can serve their their demographics with
Cool.
all of it. So
So, you know what's really weird is I haven't seen the chat because for some reason my chat is limited to, I say I have
Oh,
54 chats, but I'm only
okay.
looking at
Well,
yours. I'm sorry, if you chatted me this whole time, I had the chat kind of closed or somehow put
okay.
in the
You
right
know what?
direction.
If you don't, if you want, so basically, Debbie York said, how do you target if you're new at this? Because that's a good one.
Sure. So this is the resource I made. Let me help a little bit. Here's a resource, Executorium. Directory of state providers. So state providers are going to be really all the people in the world that your customers are going to see either while they're alive and struggling and adjusting and transitioning to after they pass and what happens after that. So the whole continuum. Government resources, if you want to learn about the legal side, if you're not in LA, which is my area of expertise, but you want to learn about the counties or state laws, this is a great tool. If you're interested in the legal side, you go in, you put in, there's federal, there's state, you put in your individual um, county, let's say, and you click Show County, and they're going to have all of the LA County Estates and Wills and Probate website, boom, right in front of you, and it has the different menus of resources available in that county. But the other part I want to show you is the providers. So again, based on whatever county you want to be in, say Orange County, California, and Show County. And this will show various people that may overlap. So if you're dealing with estate cleanouts, estate sales, now, I'll notice like some of these don't have, grief supports obviously after the fact, probate attorneys, real estate. So they don't have some things that some seniors, like for example, there are people who focus with seniors on cleanup and organizing and sort of, that's a whole big space. And then that bleeds into estate sales. Well, if there aren't vendors here, then you should call your vendor and say, hey, by the way, I have this great website, it's free. And I notice under storage, there's nobody there. Or I notice under whatever estate sales, there's nobody there. I can get you a free listing if you'd like that. Or you see people who are in there. In this case, here's a bunch of them. Call them up and say, hey, keys to pass, Cypress Lock. I'm a real estate agent in the area. I specialize in senior home sales. Tell me about your offering. Tell me about what you do. How do you help customers? What is it that you do that's unique compared to others? Now you know a little bit more about what they do to help you serve your customers. So this becomes a two-way street. You put your customers in here, and then these are obviously leads for you to introduce yourself to network with. And then if you can do video, you can either summarize them and post that, or do a video interview and post that. So the content becomes easy. It's all kind of right in front of you in that space that you want to work in. Okay, so again, it gets down to where you want to target. Don't Mine is hyper legal because that's what I've enjoyed. It doesn't have to be yours. But whatever you have, get hyper focused and then market to the people who overlap with you because you're doing the same leads, if that makes sense.
Okay, so the next question, oh, you know what? I just want, do you have more to teach us? Because I'll open it up to questions if you want. But
Well, I'm
I,
going for hours. Heather, you can wake me up at 3 in the morning and I can talk for an hour on probate
you and
and the
me
next
both.
day do the same thing again. So you
You and
need to
me
tell me
both.
what do you
You
want?
and me both. So you said Executorium. There's another one that you talked about where you can download free wills or something like that.
Oh, freewill.com. Yeah.
Freewill.com.
So there's a bunch of these, and you might want to find your own. But freewill.com does, let me share the website. So it's called Free Will, but they also do revocable living trust if you live in California, which is really what you need if you're a real estate agent in California. And so the challenge is going to be they do the revocable trust. Now they have to deed their property into the trust, right? And get that deed recorded. And that's a little bit of a challenge. How are you going to do that? You want a paralegal do that for them, pair them up with a service, introduce an attorney. Will your escrow officer maybe do that as a service? Or your escrow officer do it for free for a fee? You might give this to free anybody who's in process buying a house to get started, and then the deed is taken in the trust when they record their first purchase. If I was a first-time buyer expert, I would offer that to everybody I work with.
You know what? Okay, so let me just Danny. Okay, Danny, can you open up your mic for a moment, please? Because I love what you wrote, except the word trap. Just right. Danny, are you out there? Can you open up? Basically, what Danny wrote was, so what I'm hearing is you create a resource or value to gather info and then prospect.
No, I never prospect. I'll never call. Look, those of you who are on this call, you might find my YouTube channel, you might find my website, you might sign up for the emails I do, whatever. I'm never going to call you unless I'm calling you back. I only want to talk to people who want to work with me. Now, all of you have the access to come into my calendar. I have a link tree. It's so funny. I'm not even very good at promoting all the stuff I have. It's really kind of pathetic. But my website is therealbillgross.com. And that's my link tree. It has different things, and you go in there and sign up and click and do an appointment with me if you want to get in my calendar. I'm fine with that. I'm never going to call you ever again. I had people call me to join XP. I say, look, don't take it personal. I'm not going to call you back. I'm available if you have questions. I'm available to help. But I'm not chasing you because I got better things to do with my time than chase somebody or try to help you want to be motivated.
But
Now,
if you create the value, right? If you're
I'll chase people to create value. I'll chase attorneys to be guests on my podcast because I think they'll be great guests and create value for the marketplace. But I'm never going to ask them to send me a lead, ever. Never. I want them to chase me. I want them to say, I love when they come, Bill, I really need your help. Oh my God, this thing is such a mess. Do you think we can do this? Do you think we can do that? What do you think this property is worth? But we got a squatter in it, but we got to this, but there's two parties, blah, blah, blah.
but
That's
Bill's creating value.
right,
Bill's solving a
right.
problem for one of his attorneys, many of them, doesn't matter where they are.
Yes,
He is solving their problems.
correct.
You are now a valuable asset to that attorney. Doesn't matter. Are you an assisted living community? Because I can plug and play that one for you guys too. No problem. The point is create value, be like, know, and trust. Know people that your secret sauce that can create value for the people, for everybody.
I'll add to what I think is kind of an overused tool in today's market for realtors is AI. I feel like 95% of it is hype. The people selling it, none of them are selling houses. So you have people who aren't selling houses telling you how to sell a house with a tool that they don't know because they never sold a house with it. So, but I want to learn the tool because I do know those tools are powerful. And once I figure out how to use them, I can be effective. So the mistake they make is like they're going to teach you how, as if you have so many emails and phone calls, how to, like a chat robot, to answer all your leads for you. How many of you on the call have too many leads to talk to on a daily basis? None of you. Let's be honest about it. But it is a very powerful tool for research. So one of the things I do like is Google has their deep research. And I did deep research on several aspects of probate where I got 90-page reports with all kinds of links that analyze things in detail and provide numbers that are beyond my ability to put together to read through and be an expert in my particular hyper niche. If I was learning about nursing home facilities in Santa Barbara County, I'm sure you could ask certain questions that would yield tremendous information. And you can summarize that page, becomes a social media post. You can talk about that page, it becomes a social media post. Maybe it'll help you gather up who to talk to. So I do think AI is a fantastic tool, but it's for the way it's being marketed is for people to not work hard or not create value. And really, the goal of all this is to empower you to create more value. I want to be in front of more people who have problems and talk to them about it. I don't want the Bill Gross chatbot to be talking to them. That makes no sense at all to me. But so it's not about trapping, but creating value. So yeah, you use these tools. That's why I email out. I'll give you another example. I'm going to tell you how I learned my own mistake. So I always tell people, put everybody you know, like, and trust in your database and forever market to them. So over time, I created a tag for my email database that I called COI, Center of Influence. And that was who I mailed my weekly email to. So I had a database at the time, about 6,000 people. 3,000 were COI, but 3,000 weren't. And so one day I said, I wonder what the other 3,000 are doing in my mail. It was a MailChimp as the email I use. What are the 3,000 are doing there? I took the exact same email and I sent two emails out, one to the COI list and one to the non-COI list. So I have 3,000 that I tagged as COI, my best clients. The other 3,000 that I don't know who the hell they were, but I had their email in my system for some reason. They both had the exact same open ratio, the exact same click ratio on my video. So, we all think we're so smart that we know who likes and doesn't like our material. I don't care if you watch my video, I love you. I don't really care if you like it or not. I don't care if my sworn enemy or my competitor watches my video. They're not me, and I get a view on my YouTube channel. So I'm glad to create the value whether you like me or not. I don't want to upset people, and I don't mean to help my competitors on purpose. I'm just saying, don't worry about it. Worry about finding more people who need your information and deliver more to those people. That should be your constant concern.
Okay.
Guys? Jeez.
Here's what I want to ask you guys. Please do me a favor. Raise your hand if you've got questions for myself, Bill. Doesn't matter. We're here. I want Bill to give more probate stuff, wills, trusts, all about that here. So I'm going to encourage him to come back. And by the way, next week, you brought something up, and I think everybody was kind of like, "Oh, that sounds really good." Oh, what was it at the beginning? I've done ChatGPT. If you guys didn't see the ChatGPT I did a few weeks ago, very much what Bill was talking about, I already put that in the chat box for you guys. Um, you, what else? I mean, please raise your hand. Bill's here. Let's talk about this. Look it, this is only one section of this entire market for this demographics and the children. All of us on this call, I don't care what age you are. I don't care if you're 21 or if you're 70 or 80, all of us are affected by this. Doesn't matter. I don't care. Aging in our homes, we will be affected. Multi-generational living, probate, reverse
Reverse mortgages. I have a reverse mortgage podcast. Can I tell you?
reverse mortgage, reverse. Remember, you guys, most of you got certified a couple weeks ago. I told you how to market this
Oh my
without
gosh.
selling it. It's huge. It's big.
And by the way, there's no realtor in America who's reaching out to reverse mortgage
No,
originators for the
no.
customers they have that need to sell their house. There's nobody.
No,
It's wide
and by the
open.
way, here's a reverse mortgage for mortgage. You can go buy a 2 to 4 unit building, live in one unit, get income from the other 3 units to help you age. Nobody knows that on a reverse mortgage for purchase. Why? Because real estate agents are listening.
I know.
That's why we're 4,000 agents here at EXP. I don't give a crap about other real estate brokerages. Here at EXP, we're this way for a reason because we're serving from the heart. Life
I,
never
I,
trust.
I'll share another cute story about reverse mortgages. So I used to live in Florida. I was married in Florida. We go there about once a year. And but I'm not going anywhere unless I get divorced. I can't move to Florida because my wife's not moving because our grandkids are here. So, but for tax wise, obviously it makes sense being Florida. It's a booming real estate market. So I looked about buying a place there, but the only without selling our house, without selling assets, what cash I have free, I had about $500,000. I was looking at condos. I kind of fantasized, kind of like real estate porn. I'm like looking at, I could buy this condo. It's 520. I only have 500. I have closing costs. I didn't realize I could get a $300,000 Heckham for purchase and buy an $800,000 condo with the same $500,000. And I'm a realtor, I didn't know that.
And by the way, you have no mortgage, zero. You
Yeah,
have
no
an
payment. No
HOA.
payment. No qualifying. I qualify. I have decent
You
credit.
have an
No qual.
HOA, taxes. I mean, telling you guys.
Instead of $500,000 condo, I could buy an 800. Well, hold on, 800,000 now. We're talking. It got me to to talk to my wife about moving to Florida again. It
And
got me
you
in
know
trouble
what?
again.
And you're a real estate agent. And
I'm a real estate agent. I didn't know that. So
no,
you know what I did?
no.
I launched a podcast. I have the reverse mortgage podcast. I interview originators and I've interviewed executives in reverse mortgages. I do an episode a
Okay,
week
so
on that.
by the way, Ted Butler and I for the last 6 years have been doing seniors network stuff about reverse mortgage for purchase. If you didn't
Oh,
know, Mutual of Omaha has it's called a lifestyle home loan, but it's a reverse mortgage for purchase, and they are certifying real estate agents for this in a
oh
lifestyle home
wow,
loan. But the bottom line is, he registered trademarked his name as the reverse mortgage guy.
nice.
No, sorry, the voice of reverse mortgage for Mutual of Omaha. He's fascinating. If you want to talk to him,
Yeah.
he's in LA, so you'd love to talk to him. Great guy.
I got invited to speak at the National Reverse Mortgage Lenders Association conference in Irvine. I mean, because I have the podcast, because nobody's doing it. It's just funny to me how in real estate, and here's another thing, in real estate, there are a lot of podcasts like how to buy a house in Burbank or how to buy a house in Dallas, Texas. There's very few podcasts on some of the niches we service, like senior housing. I don't know of anybody who does. Does anybody do that? I would if I now I that's not my niche. I don't work it. Really. You guys should email me your a link to your podcast. I'd be more glad to check it out and maybe promote it or something. But my point is, not enough. I mean, I'm on YouTube every day, all day long. I didn't see them. They're not that prominent. It's not as frequent as realtors doing I'm a cute girl in some, boat on some wealthy property in Newport Beach. There's a lot of those. But there's not that many of what you're talking about. I would be the specialist in my neighborhood. If I didn't live in LA, my specialist in that county or that area of senior housing, if I want to do senior housing. I think
Well,
that's just wide open.
okay, so I've been dropping links to the YouTube channel for years. I have been teaching you guys how to market. I don't care if it's senior housing.
How to age your way. Look at that.
Yeah, I don't care if it's senior housing. I don't care. It doesn't matter, whatever you're in, make that your niche. Nextdoor.com, we have Joellen Brooks coming up at the end of the month. If you don't know what Joellen Brooks and our company is doing, $1 million deals. And all of it is on Nextdoor.com. She takes everything that we learn here and just targets it on Nextdoor.com. I want you to take everything we learn here, probate, wills, trust, whatever it is, senior living, because we all need it. We all need some component. That's your secret sauce. You're not there to sell yourself.
Eh,
We're there to provide services and people that like, know, and trust in the community. We're like the mass marketers, yet nobody knows that those people, trust attorneys, that things like this exist, or that they could lose their house if it's not put into certain things. Give them the education and they will come.
and also, you're with EXP. We have a unique opportunity to leverage in the way that no other agents have. And I did this, I saw this in the very beginning when I joined 6 years ago, at the same time Heather did. And I launched my podcast around that time. In that I posted my YouTube link on the workplace. I create a group. I have in workplace, there's probate weekly. And it's the same group name as I have in Facebook. And I post the YouTube link in Facebook and the YouTube link in Workspace. Why? Every expert tells you don't because Facebook doesn't like the algorithm. I don't care. If you're in my group, you're going to see my videos. Because I want to dominate probate real estate on YouTube. That's my goal. And because I'm with the XP, I got other XP agents around the country who would watch my videos in ways that other agents wouldn't do that. And that just helped me grow the podcast. Now, to be honest, I'm not even still posting there or not anymore because, I have so much stuff going on and things fall apart or whatever. But my point of that is to say, you all are in EXP. You all have the opportunity to create your own group that you own, or this one, or both. Really, ideally both. Ideally, you have your own, and then you also cross-post it here with Heather's permission, or whatever the rules are here. But you use your link to the social media that you want to. If you're using Nextdoor or
You know what I'm
YouTube,
going to start doing is every week, I think all of us should start posting so we can all follow each other.
yes,
Here's
of course.
piggybacking off of Bill. This past week, I posted a a 62 plus, by the way. Okay, so I'm double downing on all of you guys on this call. Okay, double downing on everybody. I posted a 62 plus listing. It is literally next to all the medical facilities in San Diego, sunny, by the beach, cheap, low HOAs. You could use a Heck'em for purchase to buy this place. Here's why I'm telling all of you guys. If you're living in freezing cold weather, and by the way, I told you, I gave you plug and plays of how to do this social media post. But here's why I say this. If EXP Seniors Network were to blow up one property and at 62 plus living, imagine what that can do. Now, here's why I say 62 plus living. It's not just about the Heck'em for purchase. I say this because there's a lot of people that live in very cold areas that no longer want to live there, that want to go to something that's warm, or have a child that lives near San Diego. By the way, La Jolla, very, very cheap, first floor. Okay, only 62. That's a very good market for us. So if you want to set yourself apart, Go into your neighborhood. Doesn't matter if it's your listing, but guess what? You're going to get a referral fee if you find someone.
Yeah.
And you post that listing and be like, hey, anybody 62 or plus, there's this, there's that. Within our company, we have all these 2 to 4 unit buildings. We have that in our commercial units, in our commercial side. But here's what I'm saying, post that in the frozen areas because people want to go to the Sunbelt states, Texas, Florida, California, Arizona. Your Sunbelt states are big. Let's talk about taxes. You have to help them long term. We're not talking short term.
Yeah.
That's where most real estate agents end. They sell the house, boom, done. No, no, no. You got to figure out what to do later. Is it financials for them? Then that's the sweet spot. Is it a loan to get them to a different state? That's a sweet spot. But guess what? We got that shit right here in EXP. That's where the referral networks come in. That's where we all connect as agents. It's not about making the money. It's about that we got that for you and look at this listing in San Diego. Because someone in Chicago is looking to move to San Diego. Someone in New York's looking to move to San Diego and buy all the medical facilities, cancer treatment. Maybe you got somebody that's in their 60s that wants to move there for 6 months because on a heck'em for purchase, it's got to be over 6 months. Imagine. So if everybody were to take that listing, put their own twist on it, and be like, look what we got, guys. And by the way, it's plug and play. It's not about a 62 plus listing. It's about the probate. It's about a trust and will for free. It literally, when I say CTA, a lot of people wonder what that is. It's your call to action. Your call to action is to bring it back to you and be like, look, we got this listing. It's not yours, doesn't matter. It's EXP. You're helping another agent sell something that's 62 plus, but that's not the point. The point is you look good. You are the bomb because you know about 62 plus living. And if you don't know what's going on in our market, let me tell you, in 2025, look at our NAR sales report. Over 62, biggest sellers and buyers of 2025. And by the way, 2024 also. It's never happened. By 2030, all the people over 65, they're going to outnumber all the people under the age of 20 for the first time in US history. If you don't think that our aging population, by the way, is aging, what about our nation's housing infrastructure? Same thing. They're aging just like we are. So when Bill's like, "Oh, it's so easy to find these things that aren't in trust," let me give you even better. How about finding homes that aren't in trust that have been owned for 30 plus years? Because that means that they're in prime target for needing that. Or that they're living in a 2-story home because if they have a slip and fall, they're going to need to move with either a heck'em for purchase or they're going to need to sell and either need it for assisted living communities or for home health care. Or I could give you a list on and on because this is what I speak about in our National Association of Home Builders at our international builder shows. Why? Because we don't have homes that are being built for the older demographics right now. So it doesn't matter if it's probate, doesn't matter if it's living wills or trusts, it doesn't matter if it's assisted living communities. It is our job as a real estate agent to figure out the next for them. And that's where all real estate agents are failing to do. That's what Bill's telling you. That's what I've been telling you. If you don't figure that out for yourself, you're done in this business. And it's not just this business, it's any business you go into because this is where we're going. By the way, doubled the amount of centenarians. We're living longer. So when you look at the uptick of the way we're living, not just now, but in the future, you've got multi-generational living happening because we can't afford assisted living communities. We've got not just that. Oh, but it gets better. What about like, and this is making a comeback, which is really cool, is Golden Girl style living. You've got a bunch of people getting together wanting to buy a house. That's called fractional ownership. Figure that shit out. I'm telling you, there is a space for all of us. Oh, and by the way, a lot of people don't want to live in the United States because taxes, medical, government, all of that. And guess what's happening? If you look at the uptick of, I don't know if you guys understand, when we move out of the United States, it's called expat living. There is a big uptick in it. Where are they going? Spain, Portugal, Mexico, the places that we have real estate agents.
The XP has offices in.
Why? You could
You
be,
could just do that. You could just do Seville, Spain. You could just do Cabo, Mexico. You could just do and make a nobody does that. That's the other thing.
go look at, there's no real estate
I
agent
have an agent on my
doing it.
downline who's a very good real estate agent. He makes a decent living. I don't know. He goes to Cabo twice a year, fishing, whatever, drinking beer, whatever he does. Married, nice guy. I
Right.
say, when you're down there, why don't you video some houses? Go to the real estate office, meet a guy, do an interview. You know, he speaks Spanish, your client speaks Spanish. Do it in Spanish, English, doesn't really matter. Do what you do that your clients be interested in. He's never sold one house with people moving down there. Why not? If I was going, no, I don't like particularly like Mexico.
But like
If I
take
did, I would be doing that all day long because also it makes every trip tax deductible on top of all that.
But you guys got to think outside the box when it comes to the
Yeah.
older adults. And when I say older adults, it's 55 and over. Doesn't matter. That's it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if I'm your mom because I've got a kid that's at 20. Doesn't matter. There is a need for something. You've got to find the problem and then give them all of the sweet sauce for that problem that you're going to fix with all the people and the connections that you know. Doesn't matter if it's trust. Doesn't matter if it's assisted living. Doesn't matter if it's expat living. Doesn't matter if it's commercial, 1 to 4 units, or by the way, assisted living communities paying by door. It's huge. Residential assisted living, the amount of money you could make on selling those is fabulous. But nobody's doing it. Not
Yeah.
one real estate agent.
Yeah. If I could add one more piece to answer a question we got from, I'm not sure what 50% Debbie Lowe means, but Debbie Lowe from XP Realty
Debbie.
asked a question, is there a list of professionals that can be a network outreach for aging demographics, trust, probate, wills, placements? I think I showed you Executorium is one place for that. But I think I want to say, I think this points out the biggest mistake real estate agents make, in my opinion, which is also the biggest opportunity for you to build your business and what I built my business on, which is I'm not looking for people who want to sell a house. I'm not looking for people who want to buy a house. To be honest, when people tell me they want to buy a house, I immediately refer them to somebody else. I don't really want to, I don't deal with buyers at all. Investors, maybe, not in my own listings. If I like you, maybe I will, but to be honest, that's not really my business. My business is servicing people who know people who need to sell homes on a regular basis. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for somebody who a probate attorney might do 3, 5 cases a year. He might know 2 or 3 referral of listings per year. That's my client, not the customer. And so when she asked that question, Debbie asked me that question to me, it just tells me she's not focused on the right activity because that answer is the whole business. If I don't mean to pick on her, but if you just knew every single professional in the network for aging demographics, including trusts, probate, wills, placements, health, reverse mortgages, EPA, et cetera. There's an endless list. If you had that list of people and you just talk to them and help them do their business better. Oh, and by the way, how could you help them do their business better? Maybe by promoting them on your social media, maybe by being so good at social media that they learn from you how they should be talking to their customers. Like for me, I interview attorneys and they say, well, I really do my own YouTube channel. And I tell them, well, why don't you just copy what I do? I'll give you a quick cheat sheet of what I've done. And you just call your referral sources. Don't call your customers. Nobody really wants to see that content. But who refers you business? Oh, well, wealth manager, an accountant. Great. Call them up and interview them. Well, how do I do that? Well, here's a little cheat sheet to help you do that or copy what I do. So the answer there that I think she asked the question to points out that we're looking in the wrong spot. We're not looking, I don't think, if you're building a business, I'm not just selling houses, I'm not just making some money. I'm trying to build a business. a business is sustainable and scalable, and that's by finding people who know people who need to sell houses. That's who I'm looking for. And those are going to be other professionals. And so my market always is, that's why I do reverse mortgage podcasts. I interview reverse mortgage originators. Why? They know people who need to sell houses. I interview attorneys. Why? They know people who need to sell houses. I don't interview sellers. I don't really even want to talk to sellers more than I have to because they're not that valuable unless referred to me by a key attorney.
But are you guys listening to what Bill's saying? Is that he's not selling. He's giving valuable information and education on the most targeted, like, questions that are being asked. And if you're not, every Thursday night, I sit here and I teach you guys this. I show you how to find those most asked questions. I've dropped it in the chat box. If
Google,
you, it's
Google it.
not, yeah, I've talked about the Google. I have talked about all of this. Here's what I'm saying. I've
I sold houses when you had to give a book and you had the book every other week and then the update book every other week. And then
You
every
know,
other week you even have a new book. Every other week you had the update book, not
you
the
know
full
what?
book. Now you have a phone with every single listing in marketplace.
Yeah, but you know what my favorite thing is when I walk into a home and they still have their original purchase agreement that's on 3 pages, pink, white,
Oh,
yellow,
oh
and
my
it's
God.
this long. But here's what I love about that. They sat at that table in that home with one real estate agent who hammered it all out between the person who was selling the home and the people that were coming in. And that one real estate agent who was sitting at that table, okay, listen, knew everybody and everything in that neighborhood, everything that was going down, everybody that you needed, because the reason why you're buying that home was because of your kids and because you wanted to get in there. But let me tell you one step further. You didn't have inspections. You didn't have all this paperwork, and then you didn't have this. You didn't have loans. You didn't have any of that. Now, skip to today. That's very overwhelming when you've got people coming into your house for older adults. You gotta know all those caveats to it to make that sauce for them. And you don't personally, by the way, have to be everyone. You just got to know everyone that's going to help you make that happen for them. One of the things that I love, Debbie York said, how do you get paid? Because I'll tell you how, but Bill, we all have, it's not a one size it's not like a one size fits all. We all have our own areas. Bill, I'll tell you how but Bill, go for it.
Well, commissions is still half of the income. Um, I got so I'm a broker. I'm a broker associate with EXP. I have a broker's license, which allows me to do other businesses other than EXP with my real estate license. So I'm allowed to do property management. So one of my biggest clients wanted to hire me to be their broker of record to do their commercial property management company. I get paid by them for that. Then they needed some consulting, and I got paid for that. I have rev share. Rev share covers, somebody said to me when I started here 5 years ago, if you just did a little bit and added a couple people a year, by the end of 5 years, you'd have enough people. If in 5 years you hired 10 people a year, less than one a month, you have enough people in your downline generating revenue to cover your cap and all your expenses. I do that, and I make more money on my rev share than those expenses. So I'm on 102% commission split. I do some pretty good real estate commissions. I do well, and I have related income from my probate business, which has become profitable in that sense. And then I'm building a network. So now the commissions kind of take care of themselves, and I'm building a network nationally of referral sources and referral agents. And I'd like to at some point turn the machine on to do more downline attraction, but I'm not quite there yet.
Yeah. So I
But I
do.
work 35 hours a week. I don't leave my office for work, and I schedule around my hour workout and my time with my grandkids. So, I'm not working all that hard, to be honest about it.
So, and I am like Bill, I do training coaching, but however, and I do a lot of speaking engagements that I do get paid for, but I actually do a lot of assisted living placement. I do various things. I get it from all over. I must say that this area is fascinating. It is not about the the referral fees so much. To me, it's more about the connections you're making and all the people that are being referred to you for the business. Do you see? Like, I'm not asking for it's different. I think I look at it like I'm not asking for you to refer anybody to me. I am going to give you very valuable education that you may not know of. Whether it's probate, whether it's wills, doesn't matter. Free, here you go, all you get it. But with that being said, someone's going to come to you and be like, oh my God, I saw that. I need your help. It's going to come. You do enough, it's going to come. Look at Bill was talking about his 30-day thing that he had to do, his challenge. I want to challenge you guys. Do it. Start posting 62 plus homes that are for sale. Doesn't matter if it's in your area. If it's an EXP agent, go market that. Market it because everybody's going to look at you but like, oh my God, why do they know so much about this? Doesn't matter if it's in your area. It still makes you stand out. 2 to 4 unit building on a heck of for purchase loan, great. Oh my God, my parents could make money plus live in one, and maybe we could pay them rent. Even better. You are helping people, but what you don't realize, you're making money yourself. Stop asking how to do it and just follow along, and it's going to come.
Stop worrying about making money and figure out how to help more people,
Yeah.
create more value for customers.
Telling you.
Massively, like 10 times more. Just figure out whatever you're doing. If I took everything you did for customers in a month and put it in a bowl, whatever that is.
But one, pick one. Don't do,
No, no, no. I would say all the things you do in
yeah,
let me get
yeah.
my take everything you do in a month that you do for other people. I'm not talking about cold calling. I'm not talking about
Right.
door knocking. I'm talking about what do you do to help other people? Put it all in a bowl. If you could just create 10 times that, you'll double your income. You might not have 10 times your income, but you'll double your income. That was a formula that I followed starting about 5 years ago, which was I remember I went to a Grant Cardone and his whole thing is 10x. And I was posting a video a week. I thought I was great. I was great. Most people don't even do that. But I said, 10, how can I do 10 videos a week? Now I actually cut back because I was posting a little too much and we try to find the right formula for that. So
Do you know? Okay, this Debbie Lowe, please open up your mic because I actually believe that we are allowed as agents to do something on a commercial side.
yes, we are. Of course we are.
I
There
was
was a time we
told,
were not. There was a time that they were saying when they launched commercial at EXP, there was a time they said we're not going to let residential people do commercial. That was what the commercial guy wanted to do. Then they said, well, no, we'll let you do three. Well, people like me, one day I got 10 vacant lots for like $10,000 each to sell. I said, well, I'm not going to give this to somebody else. As a probate, it's my best attorney. And they said, well, we have a new policy, which is we'll make exceptions for more than three. Now, it has nothing to do with it. You could, if it works for you to be in EXP residential, that's fine. If you want to be in commercial, that's fine. You have
But
to,
I mean, if you had an EXP commercial agent selling a 2 to 4 building and you were like, hey, marketing it on to clients who are like, hey, if you're a senior, and by the way, I did plug and plays on this without actually marketing the loan itself. It's not about the loan. It's about the possibilities of what that loan can actually do for you
sure,
in a building. That's
sure.
what that is about. That's all.
But you can sell, but just to answer the question, you
Yeah.
can sell a residential assisted living facility without. Now, I'm in California, so maybe it's different in different states. You're SLOs, you're in California as well.
Yeah.
So you have to do what your broker allows. In California, they allow us to do that. So you can sell any industrial, residential, office buildings, multifamily, vacant land. You can't do property management with the XP. That's why I have a separate broker's license.
Yeah.
You can't do business. You can't do
Like
bulk sales.
yeah. So
But
maybe when you're asking about the residential assisted living, you have to be very specific because the business side of it, and we have somebody for you that would be good with an EXP, but the business broker
yeah,
side of it is a whole nother animal.
yeah.
And I have somebody that's a business broker in EXP that's great at it. And that's different. Very
Yes, different license. You have to be commercial to do that.
Yeah, and that's a whole nother beast.
Yeah.
But that is actually purchasing the residential assisted actual living, like the
Business.
whole business part of
Yeah.
it, which is very typical in a boarding care. Oh, in California, call them boarding cares. But however, you don't have to sell it, but you can partner with somebody and have them do it
Yeah.
for you where you are able to get a referral fee. Just saying.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so important to have those people that you like, know, and trust. Doesn't matter if they're in Spain and Portugal. And I've brought in the head brokers of those countries. I have. I've had them talk about senior living and about expat living here. I'm happy to bring them in again. But I will tell you, it is important to know every aspect because you're serving up a sauce. Find your secret part of that sauce, but make sure you got a sauce because real estate agents just end at that, selling the house. That's not what this is about. This is about making a sauce your own, regardless of where you guys are, but geared towards this. So that sphere of influence, everything that revolves around it is for this sector. So if you're in assisted living, your whole thing is networking and everything with anybody and everybody in that sector. If it's probate, it's doing what he's doing. If it's reverse mortgages, then you're networking with all the reverse mortgage people out there and talking about it and telling everybody about it. All the attorneys that you know, everybody. That's why we are such great marketers. Back then in the 70s when we bought the houses with the 3 pages, the pink, white, yellow, you know, you know,
A snap thing out. You just snap out the copy. Press hard. Go to my key and press hard.
go back to that mentality and market. It's not about the money part of it because I promise you, though you lead with your heart and everybody's going to come and be like, you're the person that knows all about this. Who can help me with this? And like, oh, I got this person, I got this person. And every time you recommend that person, it's no different than an algorithm on a social media post. Your name goes like this. And by the way, if you haven't been watching all that social media stuff I've been telling you about, the minute you tag a business because you've done something, that algorithm goes not no different on social media than it is in your community about, oh, this person knows all about this. This person knows all about that. Oh, did you see this that they posted? I had no idea you could do that. That's what you want for whatever your secret sauce is for this demographics. Just this demographics, very different than other buyers and sellers. Very different.
I'll tell you another just to add to that. So last week I was reading the LA Business Journal, which I'd like to read cover to cover, my favorite magazine, and looking through the top 100 bankers in LA. And one of them is a longtime friend of mine. He was a vice president at this bank when I knew him and did business with him 15 years ago. And I kind of lost track with him. But his email's in my system. I probably go to a spam or he unsubscribed or either old email or something. But so I called him up and I said, hey, Phil, long time no talk. I saw you're the president of the bank now. I work with other people at his bank. So he says to me, it's really funny that you call me because I see you all over social media all the time. Really? How's that happen? Really? I'm sorry about that. And he goes, no, it's kind of funny because how do you get into my feed? I see you on Facebook. I see you on YouTube. Because the algorithm does the heavy lifting that we used to have doing our own. They're going to send him. They think he wants to check in with me, so YouTube sends him my video. I don't do the heavy work. I just have to do the content. I just have to create the value for the customers. There's plenty of people in the world who'll take my content and replace it, push it, share it, whatever. But what they can't replace is me creating the value. You be the expert in your hyper-focused niche. Be the expert, the mayor of your city. You be that person. People ask you, what's the best social media platform? It's the one you're going to dominate. That's the one that's going to be best for you. What's the best networking event? The one you go to that you dominate. When you go and you're just a partner, nah. But when you go and everybody there knows you, that's the one you want to go to.
So, with that being said, we're going to end it because I always go over. And I appreciate all of you guys being here. I really, really do. I have done a lot of putting stuff in the chat box. I did put where you can find our recordings for now until we get like some sort of an EXP channel, but that's just where they are. That's where I house them. They're kind of on a private playlist because I don't like sharing what we have here at EXP. I am very big on it being all about EXP and exploding EXP. I do urge you guys to go look at that 62 plus living on our network thing so you can kind of see what it's all about and how it can help you guys. The other thing is every week I'm going to start just putting all of our like I'll say, hey, drop a link to your social media so we can kind of all help each other. But the more that we explode listings between each other for the 60 or 55 plus markets, there's no real estate agency out there doing it, but the more we can explode it within our community. I don't care if the listing's in California or if it's in Chicago, doesn't matter. It makes you look good. It makes you stand out as the expert. What Bill and I are talking about, what we teach wholeheartedly to you guys for free every week, because we want to see you succeed. That's what it comes down to. So I am just go out there, go kick butt. Seriously, go kick butt. I've given you social media plug and plays. Bill, I put Bill's in there for social media plug and plays. For those who may have missed it, I'm gonna just put the cheat sheet back in there one more time for you guys. There is my cheat sheet, and then I'm gonna put Bill's cheat sheet right in there. Go for it. Start making videos today. You don't have to wait for
No,
us.
no.
It's like a no-brainer. Dangling the carrot in front of you. Throw enough shit against the wall and something's gonna stick.
Whoa, 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 whoa,
But seriously,
whoa.
when you think about
I'll
it,
say
Bill,
it, and
you
I'll
did
put it
get
another way.
probate.
I'll put it another way.
Go for it.
If you do enough bad videos, eventually you'll get really good.
I don't mean that, but like finding your niche, like is it assisted living or is it this? Is that really?
Throw
You
enough
guys,
fishing lines in the lake, you're bound to catch a fish.
I
When I launched Probate, I launched four businesses at once. I wasn't sure which one would take off, and I tried because when you have a lot of business, you've got nothing else to do, right? So, but to market or prospect or create value for people and see where it worked, and that one just took off. And so definitely, I'm all for trying multiple things, but
You do. You do. And don't be scared. Really, don't be scared. You are on a trajectory of with
yeah,
statistics.
yeah,
Really. So go out there, throw the fishing line, hook one, because that's going to get your little motor running
yeah.
to like the rest. It's just about serving with education, right? With pe what people need to know. That's what it comes down to. Like, know, and trust. Be that person.
Yeah.
All right. Bill, you are the bomb. Thank you.
Oh, thanks.
Oh, Bill, I
Because
appreciate
I had to do. You asked me. I have to. What am I going to do? Say no? Can
that.
anybody here say no to Heather? I'm just curious. Is it just me, or like is she like impossible to say no to? I haven't tried anymore. I learned early on. She's just so enthusiastic. You have such energy. You bring so much value to your group. It's really amazing to see what you've built. And at one time I built a group similar, much smaller, but similar to this. And for those who are watching, this is a lot of work. It's not even just the time; it's the part of her heart that she gives of herself. But as a result of that, her heart grows and she becomes stronger. So thank you for supporting this. And if I can ever help
But
with anything,
well, you know what, Bill, it comes down to is
mhm.
like you and I do this because it's fun for us.
Yeah,
We're educators,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
guys, I like educating better than I like selling houses. That's just me. I'm just being honest. I like coaching, educating, and giving all of that. That's where I'm the networker in the community. It's funny. I call myself. I feel like I am the Jewish matchmaker for my community for the older adults. I just match make people that need the help through education. Like, you're going to need this. If you don't need it now, just know it's here. That's all.
and I think also if you find something that really, and it's not that it's fun, and it's not that you like to do, because anything of value is hard work. Like in my job, there are moments that are really hard and difficult and challenging. a lot of it's fun and enjoyable as a result, but a lot of it is also pushing through and working through with customers tough situations or referral sources. But if you do that, then it's not really work. It's just you're living your life through your work. And that's the goal here is find something you're passionate about. Listen to how her passion is about educating. Find your passion that you enjoy. Mine's been probate real estate and building the business that I've built. I enjoy watching YouTube channel of other content to learn how to be better at what I do to deliver it because I enjoy doing it. Find what you, and then the business becomes fulfilling rather than work.
And then that's when you're successful. That's when that financial part starts coming.
Yeah,
Because unless you serve that way to yourself in your life, you know it's not positive on the outs at the end of the day.
yeah,
So if you are wholeheartedly loving working with the older demographics and their families, and trust me, it's not easy. There's a lot of complications, but if you know the right people, not so complicated.
yeah.
It's like very easy because again, it's the sandwich shop. They come into you making a complicated sandwich and you're like, I got all the fixins. What do you need? I'm your sauce. You want lettuce. You need lettuce, OT. This PT, home health care, trust attorney. That's your secret sauce, you guys. Be that secret sauce.
Yeah.
Just be 10 steps ahead of the game.
Mm.
And because you're interviewing all these people, you already are educated on those questions that are most asked. That's why Bill and I are able to like walk into a home and be like, I already know what's not working for you. What is working for you? What can I help you with? That's how I walk into a home. What's working for you here? Let me help you stay or whatever I could do. But that's how you got to serve. All right. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks. Thanks,
Next
everybody.
week.
Thanks, Heather.
Next week. Thank you. Bill, thanks.
Thanks much.